Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for showing up live or recorded. It is January the 24th, 5:30 p.m. Pacific time, 8:30 your time, Lynnette. Thank you, everybody, for showing up live or watching this recording. This is our ICT Intuitive Coach Training webinar series. It's a 3-part webinar series today, and then in 2 weeks at the same time, and in 2 weeks more at the same time. And this is the same Zoom link for every call, and I'll be recording them and sending them out as well. So we'll introduce ourselves, and Lynnette, let's start with you.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I know some of you probably have met Divi through the SHIP network. I'm Lynnette Brown. I have been in this work. I've been professionally in this work for almost a quarter of a century. So for 23 years, I've been doing this work professionally. I came from a legal background in the legal world and basically felt like I was selling my soul, trading gold for my soul. And it was horrible. And I cried every day at lunch and just really, I wasn't living my purpose. And so I basically said, okay, I'm going to quit. I was a single mom of 2 and quit and basically started doing this work professionally. Eventually started doing this work professionally. It is such a passion of mine. It is something, this is why Divi and I click so well. This is one of the things that we both feel so incredibly passionate and connected to. I mean, it's changed my life. I've witnessed it change Divi's life. Because I've been in the coaching world for so long, I've been able to witness both of our people from our other courses, and we've been doing this for 5 years. So from the other courses, watch their transformation, and it just fuels me even more. And for me, this work is really what we're going to talk about tonight, and how Divi and I live is really one of those things that you feel, I guess the word that keeps coming to me is like satiated, satisfied. You have this sense that you're not alone. There's peace. There's all kinds of opportunity. There's all kinds of things that can be created. And basically, you know, I've been on the Hay House stage. I'm a Hay House author. I've traveled and toured the world, thousands of people doing readings and stage work. And it got to be, it was like, I wasn't enjoying it as much. So now I'm a grandmother and a mother. And my coaching practice, because, you know, this work and it's so successful, I kind of do and go and do where I want to do and be where I want to be. And am very financially secure with it, making the money and having it all, right? So that's why, I mean, this passion that Divi and I share is what brought this class about, right? And why we feel so connected to it. So did I leave anything out, Div? I don't know.
Great. That was awesome.
Okay. Perfect.
Perfect. Hi, everybody. I know there's a mix of people here from SHIP Network, from our social media feeds, from some workshops I've had in Cologne on the weekend, and just people that we know, our friends, our clients, different people. So thank you, everybody, for being here. I'm Dr. Divi. I'm a family doctor, and I became an intuitive coach about 12 years ago. I did a lot of my trainings, and then after I did my intuition trainings, I met Lynnette, and she helped me to not only build my business, but build my intuition as well. A lot of you know we co-wrote a book together. I'll grab it. Called, I've got mine, called You Don't Look Psychic. And it's a phenomenal book. It's on Amazon. And it's ABCs to Zs on intuition. But what we talk a lot about in the book is energy, intuition, business, money, and like the list is endless what we talk about in that book. On the workshops I was teaching in Cologne, I kept referencing the book. Forgiveness is in the book. Business is in the book. Money is in the book.
Great, right? You don't have to go through it all. Just read the book.
But what we felt, we wrote that book, third year interest, our third year into teaching our ICT. ICT is our 9-month transformational container, and we're going into our 6th year in 2023. So we've run it for 5 successful years. We wrote this book as a result of the passion of teaching that class, and we're going to talk about that class in a minute and take you into some processes as we go here. So before we begin, I want to take a moment to thank each and every one of you for coming. And let's go into mini meditation, and then we'll get to that. So go ahead and close your eyes. With your eyes closed, take an exhale and settle into your chair or your support. Inhale, belly rises. Exhale, belly falls. Inhale, slow breath in. Exhale, long breath out. Inhale, let your spine lengthen up towards the ceiling. On the exhale, let everything you don't need leave your fingertips and your toes. Coming back to your breath and your presence with each breath. Inhaling and exhaling. A low, slow flow. Being present with this incredible group of people who are here with us live and feeling the energies of everybody who's going to watch the recording as well. And feeling the love and the desire for this work, the desire for transcendence, the desire for more joy, a deep desire for more intuition, and a deep knowing of the ease that life can be, and the desired camaraderie for love. Take a few more breaths, feeling the presence of the group as we connect. And when you're ready, roll your shoulders back, stretch your neck if you wish, stretch your arms, go to open your eyes. Welcome, everybody. Thank you again. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself, and this will take us into our course, which will take us into our what we're going to be teaching tonight. So my background is, I went from family medicine to intuitive coaching. And as most of you know, I firmly believe that energy is everything. Energy creates sinus pains, energy creates back pain, energy creates a relationship that isn't working or is working. And if we can learn to work with the energy and shift the energy through shifting our thoughts and emotions, then we can shift our physical reality. And it really is that simple. And what I love to do mostly is apply this work to me and teach through my application. And that's actually how this course started. I taught classes when I first started 12 years ago on energy, on mind, body, spirit, on emotions. And it was very, very popular and busy. The classes were amazing. And usually about 3 to 6 months into the classes starting, people coming regularly, they would always say, "This is awesome, Divi. My life is changing. My relationships are better. I'm happier. I don't fight as much. I feel better. This is awesome. But how do I do what you do?" Meaning the intuition piece. That's what they would always ask. And this went on for year after year after year. So I talked to Lynnette, and I'm like, I've got all these people that love this work. And one of Lynnette's specialties is intuition. And so we combined our forces, and we both can teach each other's work. And we formed this team which helped people to level up. Because I think if we all got together and we had a coffee and we're sitting around gabbing, we talked about our book collection, we'd all have the same books. We all have books like The Power of Now, Wayne Dyer's books, Louise Hay's books, right? We all got those? Awesome, Brene Brown, right? We all have the same books. And we have the same library collection. But there's always seems to be a gap between the book and the application. And then we go to these classes and workshops and we're like, but. And what I discovered from doing this work on myself and also teaching and practicing it, that's where the magic occurred. But there was always a gap personally for me between just the book and the practicing. I needed Lynnette to talk to and to run things by and to work with my thoughts and, practice this process. And in all the years we've been doing this, the reason we keep doing it is because we see transformation after transformation after transformation. That's why we do it. Because how it works, guys, is we have 40 to 60,000 thoughts a day. We all know that. We've read that. And they're on shuffle. And so many of those chunks of thoughts have so many traumatic stories. But what happens is there's such a little gap between me and all these thoughts. They run my show. And then over here, ironically, it's an amethyst crystal. Over here is the beautiful divine mind, the intuitive mind, that I get closer to when I meditate, but then I go back into my life. And then I'm back into my life. And so what we've done over this 9-month container is we teach you how to work with these thoughts. And it's not just as simple as press a button or read a book. application after application after application after application. People are like, yeah, just give me the list. Well, guess what? The majority are in this book. Okay. And if you take this book, go home and do it all, actually do it. And actually practice it. I will literally bow at your feet, because the hardest part, and this is me speaking, guys, I live and work this stuff. My saboteur back here goes, oh, Divi, have another drink. Oh, Divi, get your third cup of coffee. Oh, and we all have it, including me. And what we've created in this 9-month container is process and techniques that you're accountable for. Got it? To work with all these thoughts. And then after about 4 to 6 months, you're like, wow, I'm not nearly as riddled by this thought. And then this is the best part. Then all of us as a group meet together with Lynnette, obviously. We all meet. On every week, we're on Zoom together. We'll get to that later on. And we get to sit with our intuition for 3 days in person. And that's where it goes. And life never gets better after that. And I'm going to tell you more in just a second, but I'm going to take you in a process in just a minute. But I'm going to hand Lynnette, they're saying, hand the mic to you right now.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. And that's kind of how Divi and I work. We both rely and trust 100% our intuition. So you will see that, like in class, Divi will go, okay, Lynnette, I'm punting it to you. Or I'll go, Divi, what do you get? And that is one of the things that's really fantastic about, I guess I'm biased. I say it's fantastic. One of the things that I love, and one of the things that you'll see about this course, should you decide to say yes, is that there's not any other course out there like this. And that is because of the levels of support and connection and the container that we create over the 9 months. All the other 5 years that we've done this, people from 5 years ago are still friends. They're still connecting. They've made lifelong friendships, and that connection and having the community of like-minded people who will say, yeah, you got this, I know you might not, or you're right. Being able to have, not to have what I like to call the naysayers, like intuition. Have you lost your, back, you can imagine 25 years ago, my family's like, you're leaving, you're walking away as a single. My mother threw a fit. She's like, you are leaving, you've got 2 babies and you're leaving this job. What are you going to do? I'm like, I don't know, but if I don't leave, Mama, I don't think I'll be around long. So she's like, all right, girl, what you going to do? And it is the community, the connection and trusting and living this work that's allowed me to, to stand on my own 2 feet, be incredibly financially successful, and to live a life that's on my terms. Like, I work when I want to work. I connect, it's all a matter of how much you want, right? The other thing I'm getting guided to say is that the other powerful thing about this course is you don't have to be a coach if you don't want to be. We call it that because it is, when you're finished, you will be able to coach. And I don't mean telling somebody your opinion. I mean, truly being able to delve in with someone in their pain, their anguish, their anger, their frustration, their overwhelm, and hold them to where they can shift. And that is, to me, one of the biggest blessings as humans that we can be, is that we can be there and not do it for them. Because being a mom, I want to do it all for my kids and grandkids. I'll do it. No, they need to do it themselves. But to be there for someone, to hold the container, the vibration, the resonance, to where they can step in and have an amazing, amazing life, and their environment changes. We've seen people do this course and their kids change because they have taken on new ways of being, not following the everyday pattern, the saboteur, the ego, all these things that gets, like Divi said, all those millions of thoughts, all that cloudy thinking, right?
So I'm going to take you into a simple process, and some of you are in the Shift Network class, you may have learned this process already. I could teach this 1,000 times and still get something out of it every time I do it. And one thing that Lynnette and I will say to you, During ICT, there's not one process in that class that we don't practice every day.
That's true.
Or like, I mean, we practice
regularly. Yeah.
I won't teach you about vulnerability if I'm not willing to be vulnerable. Got it? I don't teach you about connecting with the divine if I'm not willing to do it. Okay. But we will tell you, we know these processes work because not only do they work in our lives, they're written about, they're talked about, but we also know we've worked with thousands of people with them. We also know if you apply them, you will change your lives
100%.
Financially, emotionally, health-wise, mentally. There is nothing that Lynnette and I believe, there is nothing that cannot change with this work. That's how committed we are, not just to this program, but to the work as a whole, right? But I'll give you another example. Lynnette was sharing, we had a woman who took ICT 2 years ago. I'm terrible at time. And then after she had a son who's in his 20s with addictions. And after she finished the course, her son started changing, despite a decade of that not being the case, because she changed. She didn't say, come, let's learn a class with Divi and Lynnette. Her energy changed, and that transmuted to him. How magical could that be in your life? With any of your area of your life, not just yourself. It is powerful stuff. And people talk about how the more they do it, the more the doors should start to open because the divine wants in.
Yeah. And the fact that you're on this call or that you're listening to this recording, you're calling it to you. You're drawn to it, right? The magnetics are there. So like Divi said earlier, thank you for trusting and thank you for your I know everybody is busy. Everybody has busy lives. And the fact that you're here shows that you feel called. So whatever it is you decide, it's great, but just know that you're being tap, 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 right?
So let's get a blank piece of paper out. And this is one of the first processes I always teach in ICT, but it's actually one of the most important processes. Blank piece of paper. Draw a line down the middle of the piece of paper. And on the left-hand side, write mind voice. And on the right-hand side, write spirit voice or divine, whichever word you want. Now, through the course of while I teach this, and some of you may have done this exercise with me, I can do this exercise 1,000 times and still get something out of it. Spirit voice is also known as the divine mind. It's also known as the God voice, the universe voice, angel voice, whatever you want to call it. The next step is to write the topic you want to work on. It might be your husband, your job, whatever. And the next to that, write the emotion that you're feeling. And ideally choose a topic where the emotion isn't the best. Maybe there's some frustration or anger or worry or resentment or sadness or fear. So again, pick the topic and pick the emotion. I'll get you to do that first. And if you've got more than one topic, just pick one, and then you can always redo this later on with a second topic. Best part. Here's the thing you want to know before you go further into the exercise. At each moment that your mind is chattering, the divine is chattering too. Any moment the mind is chattering, the divine is chattering too. When I was heading up to Kelowna this weekend to teach 2 workshops, I shared with some people, one of the workshops was for a yoga studio. No big deal. I've taught yoga for decades. I know yoga people. I got that one down. The second one was for a group post ayahuasca. They had done ayahuasca on Friday and Saturday, and they were seeing me on Sunday for integration. I've never done ayahuasca. I'm about as square as they get. I joke. I've just never had the pull. So you know what was happening to me? My mind was freaking out going, who are you to do this? You can't do this. Who are you to do this? What do you know? You've never done ayahuasca. And my emotion was fear. But my guides kept saying, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. And the only reason I was able to show up to that workshop and assist those people is because I listened to the divine mind. My human mind to be like, I'm out of here. I'm going back to Vancouver, right? So we all have experiences like that. So in this exercise, we're going to listen to the divine mind because the divine mind knows your worth, knows you're incredible, It knows you're capable. It knows anything's possible. It believes in you. And it holds the energy of unconditional love. Infinite love from here to the moon and back is how much the divine loves us. But we're busy chatting over here that we can't hear them. And that's what a lot of ICT is about. Because we want a container that will hold us to teach us how to get out of here and go here. And having a community of people doing it with you is powerful. The next step in this exercise, you've got your topic, you've got the emotion. Write 2 or 3 or 4 sentences on the mind voice side, on the left-hand side, just 2 or 3 or 4 sentences that along the topic that create the emotion, just 2 or 3. You don't need a whole book, just 2 or 3 sentences. What are some thoughts on the topic that are creating the emotion, whatever it is, fear, frustration, anger, whatever? 2 or 3 sentences, and then afterwards, just put your pen down.
So just general sentences, not on either side of the page.
Just on the mind side, just 2 or 3 general sentences. Just on the left-hand side, 2 or 3. 2 or 3 sentences.
Okay.
After you've done that, just put your pen down because you guys could write a whole book on that side, right? So before we go into meditation, I want you to be open to the idea that this thought that you have that's creating an emotion of frustration or anger or fear, the divine mind also has a thought. And if you're open to the divine mind, the newer thoughts will feel better. But in order to access them, we have to get away from the mind's voice. So take a minute and just go and close your eyes. With your eyes closed, take all of your focus inside and just go into the slow breath in and the long breaths out. Deep breath in, slow breath out. Inhale and exhale. Belly rises and belly falls. With your eyes closed, let's go into a little meditation journey. On your next breath, invite yourself into a very special place. This may be a place in nature or a place in your own home. The most important thing about this space is that it is safe and comfortable. Comfortable and safe. And breathe in and out. Belly rises and belly falls. With your eyes closed, start to notice everything about this place that makes it safe and comfortable. Notice the smells. Feel the ground against your feet. Look at the colors. Smell the aromas. Feel the temperature perfectly set for you in your safe and comfortable place. And just breathe in and out. Belly rises and belly falls. As you sit in your safe and comfortable place, you begin to notice out of the corner of your eye someone or something approaching you. There is nothing fearful about this. This is your wise guide, the energy that is here to help you and support you through your life. Maybe you've met your guide before. Maybe this is the first time you're meeting them. As they approach you, soften into your body. For some of you, you will actually see them. Others will sense them. Others may know them. Others may be able to hear them. Just get present with their presence and take a few breaths in and out. As you feel them in front of you, just breathe into the now, the right now. Beautiful. Now with your mind empty and your breath moving, beautiful. You begin to notice your wise guide has a message for you. They want to share a different way of looking at this topic to give you a better feeling emotion. Take about 10 or 20 deep, slow breaths. And as you receive those messages that come to you from the divine about the exact same topic, begin to write them down on the right-hand side of the page. Start to receive them, and they might come in the way of feeling. Others of you in the way of a knowing. Some of you might see something or hear something. This is tapping into the spirit voice, the divine mind, the all-knowing voice. Take a few breaths as you do this. As you receive the messages, open your eyes and write them down. And after you write them, go and close your eyes and continue to receive if there are more. Now for the next few moments, my voice is going to get quiet. And that'll give you a chance to really be present to this energy. As you breathe in, breathe out. Slow, deep breath. Beautiful. Deeper breath, slower breath. There you go. Soften the shoulders. Good. And just keep breathing. Take a moment now to thank your wise guide and thank yourself for showing up. If you haven't already, read what you've written down on a piece of paper and be present to it. Maybe you can write the new emotion that you're feeling after receiving the messages from Spirit. Again, be present with breath. Slow breath in and long breath out. And just notice the messages from spirit always, capital always, create a better feeling emotion. What I often say, and I mentioned this in Shift Network the other day, Glenn and I have literally arms and arms of processes and practices that we practice. And the more you learn, it's like a tool belt. The more you learn, the easier it is. Okay? And the hardest thing to understand is the divine is always there. But it's picking up which tool and which technique begin to hear them. Because we do in the 9-month container, we also do other ones, shadow work ones, divine feminine ones, money ones, because there's so many, right? And the beautiful thing about being in a container is you're working with other people, praying and practicing because you get to know each other. We form small groups. I'll get to that later. And you get to watch each other's progress. So did anyone want to type in or share out loud how that was for them? How that was? Maybe they hit a wall and nothing came up. Maybe they felt a shift and something came up. Type it in or unmute yourself and just go to share if you don't mind. That would be awesome. Then we can feel, we can feel you with us. So we know that because we're both intuitives. But this way we can hear it too. Or type it in if you want, whatever is easier for you. It'd be awesome. I want to check in. And if anyone was confronted and nothing happened, please type that in. This is a beautiful container for us to support you. Because it's not that you've done anything wrong. It's like, okay, maybe that process wasn't the one for whatever topic you chose. Got it? And maybe Lynn and I can give you another process. So go ahead and type it in, say it out loud, put your hand up, whichever you want to do. We are cool in the gang and good with either. So I'll give you guys a few minutes to do that. And then we'll go from there.
Takes a lot of vulnerability to speak up, doesn't it?
Ramona rose her hand. Okay, Ramona, Ramona, do you want to come on camera or do I can just unmute you too? What would you prefer? Do you want to come on camera or not, hun?
No.
Okay, cool.
Only because I am really not feeling well.
Oh, that's perfect.
I don't want everybody to see me with all my faces that I'm making.
Sorry you're not feeling well, darling.
Yeah, thank you. But I didn't want to miss the opportunity to sit with Divi again. And so it was difficult this time. And I think it was because of the fact that I'm feeling unwell. But when we had done it before in the intuitive class, it was easy to connect for me.
Yeah.
It was very easy to connect. And that's why I said, I'll speak up now, because this time was surprising. I was just constantly drifting off and thinking, oh, my stomach, oh, this, and I just couldn't connect, which informs me a little bit more too about how my spirit guides are working with me.
Lynnette, do you want to grab that?
I think it is spot on, Ramona. That is the fact of that. And that's what's so beautiful about this work too. There's times when we will we'll do a process, or we'll meditate or connect with our team, our divine support team, and it'll feel bumpy or gurgly, or like you have clouds in your head and your ears, like you're not getting the clarity. Mm-hmm. And it's beautiful too. You're not feeling well. So with you not feeling well, that's in your energy system, right?
Yes.
Unwellness. And that part of our brain that connects to, I'm not well, kind of short circuits the divine mind, the intuition, the guides, and the team coming through. Not completely, doesn't turn them off. Yeah. But it makes it harder to hear, or to feel, or to know, or to see.
Yes, I agree.
Right?
I agree with that wholeheartedly. But it was just something for me, to realize. It's like, as much as I wanted to connect, I always loved connecting with my guides. I was like, I'm fighting a useless battle. I wasn't all the way in myself, so. But
well, it's not a useless battle. I think what it is like your system is taxed. And I know, and this is a big thing that we do with intuition, is when our system is taxed, we've got to learn to take care of ourselves,
Yes, you're right.
right?
Mhm.
Our tank is empty, so we have to fill it.
Yeah,
We give,
yeah.
and are not as quick to open up and receive.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
That's beautiful. Ramona, thank you, honey, for sharing that. I really appreciate it. Your vulnerability is awesome.
Thank you, Ramona. That's beautiful. I'm going to pull up the other messages that came in. Rhonda wrote, at first there was a block and then everything started to flow in. So many positives.
That's cool.
And then Jen L wrote, tuning into the spirit mind and hearing, feeling the truth with allowing waves of the fear and terror around this topic I chose to move through and out, which makes it easier to notice the relief and the better feeling emotion.
That's good, Jen. That's some good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly how it feels too. I mean, I can really resonate with what you wrote, Jim, because that's how it is with me as well.
And like Ramona said, sometimes it's going to be a bit hiccupy and other times it'll come through like this. And then, when we have something, it sounds like, Jen, the topic you chose was, harder to move, which is awesome. This sometimes, and Lynnette and I will be the first to tell you, this is one technique, mind versus spirit. We literally teach you probably 50 to 100 different techniques, not a word of a lie, in ICT. The more you know, the better. Does that make sense? Because what I feel, and I'm not saying I'm right, Jen, is that something's sitting in your stomach that wants to move, that feels old and feels trauma-based. And it feels to me like it's a personality. So a different technique that we teach in the 9-month course around shadow work, they're telling me will be necessary, inner child type stuff. And it's like you have this almost like a textbook in your head. And then when you have this community of people who will go, Jen, you'll meet with your pod or mentor group, and we'll talk about that later, what that is. You'll be like, oh, Jill will say, I keep getting this hit, doing such exercise will help. Like, okay. And then it's like, it'll move. And like, wow. Right. And so that's the beauty of knowing and practicing all of them, is because then you get a chance to go, wow, I can move this. Same with yourself, Ramona. When we're not feeling well, how can we move this so we can still work with our intuition practice, right? Because that happens to us, right, Lynnette? It's like,
absolutely.
Totally. So
absolutely.
Oh yeah.
We're human. I think the other thing too that I feels important, I'm guided to express, is that we put so much pressure on ourselves to be perfect. And in the world of intuition, there's no such thing as perfect. It's an art. It is not, there's no 100%. And, if you compare an intuitive's batting average to a baseball player's batting average, and the intuitive would go in the Hall of Fame with as many times as they get it right, but that doesn't count because we're not doing it 100%. How many of you guys agree with that? I understand that. Like, that's me. I'm like, I didn't do it right one time. And that's what's so beautiful about working with universal laws and hermetic principles, and with the energy and shadow and ancestors and all of the things that we cover, because there are going to be bumps in the road. Life without contrast is not life. You guys get that, right? We have to have contrast. It's what expands us. It refines us. We grow with it. We learn. Or we keep spinning our tail, chasing our tail, right? I did that. I chased my tail for a long time and I got very dizzy. Finally sat down and said, hey, right? So it is one of the things that it's so potent and powerful to remember, is that this is a communication. It's a relationship. And even in your closest relationships, it doesn't always go smooth and easy, right? Even if you're meant to be together and all that good stuff, there's still little glitches. There's going to be. And what's beautiful about the ICT is we talk about that. It's like, okay, let's work with it. Let's work with that. Because then we become where we're not afraid, and we're confident, and we're free. And imagine your life if you felt free, like really free.
You and I are tuning into the exact same thing, because I was going to ask a question around that. So I want y'all to, because y'all kind of get the idea here. because I can feel y'all, I mean, benefit of being intuitive, is you're like, okay, they understand the concept of the mind and they understand the concept of the divine. And each of you are here because you heard a tap, okay? Even if I had mentioned it, you saw an email, you saw a post, there was a tap.
Right.
Whether you will come live or record it, there was a tap. Here's my question to y'all. What would life be like if you could listen to the divine more? What would happen to your relationships, your family, your health, your bank account, your future? Here's my next question. Maybe some of you, because I can feel a lot of you, feel like you have this gift and want to be of support to others. What would that be like? I'll grab you in a second, Donna. What would that be like to actually live a life where you're actually helping and serving? Again, that's not that you have to do it, because a lot of people take ICT, not everybody, but a chunk of people take ICT purely for the transformation.
Personal.
And then other people take it because they actually want to coach people. So I'm curious, because I can feel a number of you are like wanting to use this thing that has been like this curse, this situation, this pain, and you know that you're here to serve and help. I can feel that in a lot of you. What would your life be like if you woke up every day like Lynnette and I do? You look at your calendar and you see how many of your clients, it doesn't really matter. You have a decent income, very good income.
I was going to say decent.
I know, it's very good.
I'm like, wait.
Very good. Very good.
Really good.
I left the medical world. You left the legal world. You guys do the math, right? And what would life be like if that was your life? What could, like, just sit in that for a second. I'm curious if anyone types anything in, but I truly believe to every cell of my body, that people who come here to our websites or come here to this kind of call, it's because there's a calling here. And maybe it's to apply it to their family life. And then maybe it's to coach and help, or maybe it's to coach and help and do energy work, or maybe it's to coach and help and do sound work. It's part of what you're up to. But I believe also that more people are afraid because they don't have the right skill set. And that's actually what this whole course is about, is giving you that skill set. Because Lynnette and I will tell you, all that work we do in the mind and energy is actually like, so with intuitive coaches, what we do is we use the intuition, then we use a technique, and you need to learn to know the techniques, you have to apply them. That's why it's a course of transformation, because you apply them to yourself so that you can be of service to others. So does anyone want to share what their life would be like if that was it? And I'm going to grab you, Donna, in a second. Does anyone want to share? What would it be like?
No.
Oh, don't want to share? Okay. Okay.
But I want to hear from Rhonda, because I keep getting drawn to Rhonda. Like there's something, and you don't have to, Rhonda, if you don't want to, baby, but it's like I'm being drawn into her. Like this is something that she is really being pulled to. I don't know.
Thank you, Lynnette. If I'm okay to speak, forgive me, I'm a little nervous about speaking in front of everyone.
Biggest fear there is.
I have to admit, like, I almost want to cry because I feel like I've had something better, like I've needed to serve or help others, if that makes sense. I'm not good at wording things. I was really drawn to, I went through a divorce, basically rough, lots of changes over the last year, and I really had a chance to kind of dive into myself and listening to my intuition more and learning more about like my spirit guides, the angels. And I just knew I had a different calling, like there was something more for me, a different purpose. I want to help people in some shape or form. I'm not quite sure, but I feel like my life experience and the stuff I've gone through, maybe, yeah, and with your guidance and taking your course, I'm excited. So I'm rambling on and not making sense, but I'm really excited and I feel really pulled to be in this group and with you ladies here.
I love that.
Thank you.
I love that, Rhonda. You know, the other thing too is like, so you want to be of service. And maybe the idea of being an intuitive coach, intuitive success coach is like, oh, no, it's too weird or whatever. We have a lot of people who take our course who, doctors, psychologists, physicists. I mean, we've had all kinds of people, all walks of life take this course, and Divi and I've watched them, and they don't necessarily say, okay, I'm just going to coach. They bridge it, they marry it together to where they utilize it with their current career, or they go another, they add on, right? And that's why we have the business section of the course, because to support either integrating it with whatever you're doing, or how you integrate it in your life, whether it's as a coach personally or bringing it into your current career. So that's powerful, Rhonda. I love that.
For sharing that. And it's bang on, right? Because think when we have these guests who want to be of service, and we go through our own transformations like you talked about, we know there's a million people behind us who are going through exactly the same thing. And if I could be a flashlight to be of service.
Yeah.
And then what that would be like for them and for yourself, because then it opens us up more.
Yes.
I'm going to share a little bit about the course, so I'm getting direct to next one, if that's okay.
Donna has her hand up, baby.
Yeah, I was going to say, Donna, did you want
Okay.
to?
Let me put your hand down then. Okay.
Did you? Oh, sorry, Donna, you're muted. Do you mind unmuting yourself?
Yeah, sorry. I was just saying, don't rush to me. You can get to me when you can. But
Okay.
yeah.
And put her hand back up.
Now, Donna, I'm just go. You got it.
So just quickly and briefly, doing that practice there, we did it before in the other workshop. And the problem for me is not being able to understand when the divine support team or the spirit voices are talking to me, or is it this positive thinking thing where people do, it's me thinking positive, and it's like trying to make the distinction, because I don't know what my support team is, or my automatic response is, oh, it must be my maternal grandmother, or my father, who's both passed. But I know the divine support team can be a variety of different things or different people and different sources. So it's really hard for me to understand the clarity of when that's coming through and when it's not. And I've always, when I was younger, had a very intuitive feeling about things, but I lost that on the way. And so for me, this is really about trying to go back to that place to get that again. But it was never clear about like, oh, it was spirit guides or it was this. It was just a general feeling, general feeling. So I guess more guidance on that would be helpful. Like just trying to get an understanding of, I know it's practice. I understand that. I guess it's a matter of knowing the difference.
Exactly. And they feel, so may I jump in?
I was going to say, go ahead.
So Donna, if you go, you're very clairsentient, they're showing me. So you feel deeply, you're very empathetic. You can feel somebody else's pain from across the room, they're showing me. So if you go with that, if you go with that sense, the feeling, right? And when you're connecting with your divine support team versus so the difference between your mind voice and your divine voice, just to stay in that space versus the divine support team, you will feel completely, the mind feels this way. The divine feels like this. They're nowhere close. And we'll go through this on the intuition, the 3-day intuition in person. If you sign up, if you join us, but the divine voice is always positive. It's always cheering you on. It's always guiding you. It's saying, check your tires, check your tires, check your tires. Your mind voice, the ego, the saboteur is like, oh my God, you're gonna have a wreck. You're gonna have a flat tire. You see the difference between those two energies? The divine is, yes, move, or get out of the way, or stop. Like, if you ever had that sense, something's going on, all of a sudden it's like, stop. Has that ever happened to you? Just like,
Oh,
stop.
yeah.
That is the divine.
And I get that. I guess the distinction is when I was doing this exercise, which was interesting because I had a certain topic in my head, which was health.
Mhm.
And then I was picturing this divine, as Divi was saying, picture this presence coming, and it was unclear, but it was white. That's the only thing I could
Okay.
sense. And then
Perfect.
when I was trying to listen for it, the hard part is it was my brain saying, think positive, your health is going to be fine. Like, but
Right.
then I was like, but is that me thinking that, or is that
Right.
the message that I'm getting? But the message was weird because then all of a sudden it shifted and it wasn't about my health. It was about letting go. So it was
Which
very,
is
very
part
interesting.
of your health, though. Part of letting it
Right.
go contributes to your health,
Yeah.
right? So
Yes, but
what,
it wasn't revolved around health. It felt more around forgiveness and
right. Which
other
leads to
stuff.
health.
So yes, well, that's exactly right.
Right.
Exactly. So I
Right.
think, I guess what I was trying to do is just trying to make sure that what I was hearing was not me thinking it. It was more of like, this is the support you're getting. And that's where I'm trying to make that distinction, because I am really trying to be positive every day. And I am really trying to look at things like half glass, the glass is half full. So it was just a matter of that clarification. And I don't mean to take up everybody's time. So that was it.
No, that's perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah, you're not taking everyone's time, Donna, because it's a very common question, very common. And you alluded to it too. The more you practice the muscle of the ease, and the thing that you showed us so beautifully is then we try to figure it out. You didn't say it this way, but I'll say it the way I heard it. It's like, am I doing that right? Is that my dad? Is that my grand? And it's just like, well, maybe can I just trust?
Right.
Right. And then the more we trust, the louder this voice gets that Lynette's talking about. Does that make sense? Because that's a huge part of what we see in ICT is that people are like, but I know it's my grandma Joe because I went and saw a medium and she said it was my grandma Joe and I think it's my grandma Joe. And, but then what I've learned a lot through Lynnette and through working with intuition, a lot through Lynnette is like, the more you trust, the louder it gets. The more you let go, the louder it gets. And I can feel it, Donna, right now you're doing it. You're letting go. You're trusting. And you're like, well, is that me trying to be positive? That's just so you know, that's your saboteur. That's our ego. We're trying to figure it out. Because see, our ego doesn't want to let go of control. It's like gripping. You got to do it this way. You're not doing it right. But intuition, like Lynnette said, is just like softening into it, right? And they want me to say that you're doing it right. So if you can just play with it. And that was the most beautiful question, Donna, because that's the tripping point that everyone runs into, right, Lynnette?
Yeah,
everyone.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Awesome.
It's a great question.
That's amazing. Yeah. Oh,
Great
good.
question. So you were going to go over the.
Oh yeah, go over the course. I just want to check in any other. Okay, good. So how the course is set up? It's 9 months, so it's a fairly long time, and it's weekly, every Tuesday at 4:30 Pacific time, 6:30 Central, 7:30 Eastern. And if you're on a weird time zone, we'll make it work. Trust me, we're really great that way. We watch the recordings, do whatever we need to do. So 3 of the weeks as us teaching, like us teaching classes. Then 1 week of the month, we do just what we call them office hours, where it's just like come in and Rhonda, or just like we did with Donna, need some coaching? Donna's like, I can't figure it out. Or Ramona says, I've got this health issue. Can you help? Melissa and I do what we just did. We tune in. Like I tune into you and I'm like, yeah, Donna's clairsentient. Yep, she's a feeler. Yep, it's her saboteur in her way. And then Lynnette does some teaching. And so we do that in the office hours once a month. And so that happens throughout the year. Got it? And now if it's a month, just, if it's a month with 5 weeks, you get 1 week off. You know how there's 4 weeks a month and then some are 5? So 3 of the weeks is us teaching. 1 of the weeks is office hours. And then 1 week is off. If there's 5. And then, but usually there's 4 weeks. So 3 weeks is us teaching and 1 week is office hours.
All Tuesdays, though.
All Tuesdays.
First 3 Tuesdays is teaching and the 4th Tuesday is office hours.
Yeah. And that way you get some coaching, some guidance. My husband's driving me crazy. I don't know what to do. And I say, Julie, you brought that up. Because of the universal law of oneness, what is your husband might be Jen's best friend, like the same energy. And so I was teaching, like I said, in Cologne on the weekend, 2 fairly large groups. Everybody got so much out of what everybody else taught. And you had like 20 people and they all learned from each other, which is the most powerful thing in the world. Versus one-on-one coaching, you learn one thing. We have 20 people being coached. Oh, watch out, right? So that's how the calls are set up. Then on top of that, in March, Lynnette and I look at the list of peoples and we put on our intuitive hats and we divide you guys into groups of pod groups and mentors. It's probably actually the best part of the class. I mean, the whole class is amazing, but the pod groups and mentors, you're intuitively assigned. So Julie, your energy fits best with so-and-so's energy. And then it's like you guys go together as pod groups, mentors, or coaching buddies. So there's four levels of support. Thanks for that. There's pod groups, which are groups of 2 or 3 other people that you meet with monthly. A mentor, somebody who's done the class before, who will meet with you monthly. Okay. And these are all chosen intuitively. They're separate groups. Then you have a coaching buddy who's like one other person in the class. And then you have us. So through the 9 months, it's a lot of support because stuff goes south. That's why the course is so long, so that you can work with this. And like Lynnette said, we have like 5 years later, we still have best friends from years ago. One of the most common things we hear is in this work, and I can 100% relate to this, even though I have this class and I have so many people I've trained. When I first started, I felt so alone. It made me want to cry, guys, to be honest. Mm-hmm. I felt like I was the only one on the planet, even though I had trained with 800 people. They were all over the world. I felt so alone because we didn't have an ongoing support container. We had nothing. I did a 3-day training. That's all I did. And so with 9 months of working with people all over the world, you'll have best friends all over the world. And those friends stay friends. And it's completely mind-blowing. Lynnette's been my cohort in this. I've met lots of other people. You guys will meet in the other pods. And the other calls will have graduates come back and share with you guys. And the other thing that you'll find in the course too is it's a huge level of accountability, which is one difference, because I know a few of you in the Shift Network class, the way the Shift Network is set up, is that we can't do things like that. It's just too short. The one thing that we haven't shared with you guys that's probably, in my opinion, the best part of the course is a 3-day intuition retreat.
Yes.
It is mind-blowing. So we all meet as a group for 3 days in Sedona, Arizona together. And it will blow your mind. How I describe it to people, and Lynnette can describe it a lot better than I can. You actually learn how to sit across. Let's say, Jen, that you and I were first timers, we're in the 9-month course. Then in September, we go off to Sedona together, and you and I are in pod groups together. But you know what? Julie, I've never met Julie. She's in the big container, but I've never met her. Then I've never met Julie. I've never talked to her. I've seen her in the container, but I've never met her. Then Julie and I sit across from each other. She's somebody I don't know. I've got to do a reading. That's when you know you're intuitive. You are just like, right? And it is a container of unbelievable love. Wouldn't you say, Lynnette? It's like, you can describe 3 days better than I can.
The 3-day intuition retreat is, Divi and I love it because it's one of the things, it's like, for me, it's like watching kids on Christmas morning open their gifts, because to watch two strangers, virtual strangers, I mean, you know each other because you're in the course together, but you don't know each other, sit across from each other. A question is asked and you basically respond to a stranger. There's no way you could know, like logically, left brain, I know your brother is whatever. It's, you sit across and you share these things, and there's this melding that happens, this love that opens up, and the tears begin to flow, and the laughter, and the belly laughs, and the peace. It is amazing. It's amazing. And we do it for 3 days straight. And every single person that walks out knows and is confident that they are intuitive and they can prove it. Like there's not one person that leaves going, I can't do this. And that's in 5 years, not one person.
They know, the words I love to use is they know they're the real deal, because they are, and I'll say it this way, they are forced, you're not forced, but you're sitting across from somebody you don't know. And the container is set, and there's not one person who doesn't get it. That's the craziest thing. Is the not saying not one person leaves going, I couldn't do it.
I can't do it.
Everyone does it. It's completely mind-blowing. Julie asked, when is it? It's in September. So we start in March. So March, April, May, June, July, and August. We move through processes of energy, of money, of like shadow, of divine feminine. We do a lot of processes. So it's like 5 or 6 months of like full on. Then we do the intuition, 3 days in September. It's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Typically, we haven't picked, it's not Labor Day. We know that. And it's one of the other 3 weekends in September. And then we go back from there and we're just like this incredible group. And then after that, we normally move into business and light body, other modules at the end. So that's how we kind of wrap the course. But what happens is no one leaves that weekend in Sedona not changed. Like it is magical beyond magic. I just say it all the time. Like wouldn't you say, Lynnette? It's like, let me say it this way.
Definitely.
It's like one thing that I always see, whether or not people do this for a living or not, is people realize why they were born.
Right.
They realize why they have their gifts. They realize why they're sensitive. And to me, there's nothing like that. It's like to know that that's why my stomach hurts all the time. Wow. That's why my body hurts all the time. Wow.
I want to add to that too, that it doesn't mean, I want to clarify something Divi said. We have the 3-day weekend on intuition, but all through the 9 months, we're talking about energy. We are talking about intuition. We are talking about universal law and hermetic principles. We are talking about money. So all of the subjects, your family of origin stuff, childhood stuff, all the saboteur stuff, all of it is ongoing. On the intuition weekend, that's all we talk about. That's all we play with. It's totally experiential. And it's about intuition and energy, but we won't get into things like, levels of support.
I got it.
Right.
Totally. Yeah, exactly. So.
Just so I don't want you to think, I don't want you to be left with, oh, there's only 3 days on intuition.
No, it's throughout the
Because
whole.
it's not, because I'm the intuition queen, baby, and I'm all about having it all the time.
Yeah, it's
right?
all the entire course. So
like on those office hours that Divi was sharing with you about, what we, if there's something comes up, we'd go, okay, Rhonda, well, what are you getting about that?
And it's not a test. Like one thing you'll like, we're just for fun, right? It's like what, or Ramona, why are you not so much why aren't you feeling well in a bad way? It's like, so what's the friction going on in your life? Let's support you. Let's love you, right? So, or Donna, why is the saboteur acting up so much? Donna, I got her too. Mine is super loud too. So I can relate to her, right? So yeah. And in the next webinar, we'll do another process on a different topic. Say we did mind versus spirit, because it was the introductory webinar. And then we'll do another process in 2 weeks, right, Lynnette? And then another one in 3rd. And then next one, we'll also have old graduates who've come back and they'll share with you how it was for them. We just don't want to do in this one because it was just us.
Right. We wanted to give you kind of an overview, but also give you if there's questions you'd want to ask some of the graduates, jot them down so that you can ask them directly. We don't hide anything. We are like 100% authentic and real deal. And we're all about, you want to talk to some graduates? Here they are. Let them tell you what they experienced. Right.
One or two more things before you guys, I want to see if there's any questions too. Most of you know I went from medicine. I spent my 30s teaching yoga, and I started this work in my 40s. I know when I opened my yoga studio back in 2002, if anyone knows Lululemon, most people know Lululemon, I opened my studio the same year Lululemon started, okay? Or it was around the same time. At the time, I knew yoga was the thing. Like yoga was just starting in Vancouver. If anyone's from Vancouver, every couple blocks there's a yoga studio, versus 20 something years ago, there was one in all of Vancouver, just in case, just to give you a relative thing. Grab you in a second, Julie. And now there's yoga studios every couple blocks, okay? This is, to every core of my being, knows that's what intuitive coaching is. Wouldn't you say, Lynnette? Yeah. This is what I would say everyone's asking for, is like, I want to know why I'm having this trauma with my mother. I want to know how to heal this, not just through X, Y, Z. And that you're kind of catching the wave of what I saw 20 something years ago in yoga, where there's such a deep desire for this work. So that's what I just want to share with you guys, because it's like, Lynnette and I are incredibly busy, which is a good thing, and incredibly blessed. I know.
And you know, that's even like the C-level clients too. Like we have clients who are CEOs, CFOs, and they ask those are the same questions. I mean, even though they're running, like I have one of my clients, the Fortune 500, I've got big dogs, and they're just like, but wait, I don't understand. Right. And being able to integrate that into their work. And those are the kind of people, I mean, whoever people you want to work with, but the sky's the limit. Sky's the limit. You want to work with Hollywood people, whatever you want to do.
Julie, I know your hand is up.
Whose hands up?
Julie's hand was. What?
Me?
There you go. Yeah. Wasn't your hand up? Or did I see that wrong?
Yes, it was.
Okay, good.
Oh, I'm like, it's not now.
I just wanted to make sure before we end, I just wanted to talk about my primary Claire. So like to get clear. So I'm pretty sure that it's feeling first and then thinking, like then knowing. But I just wanted to get your input.
I would agree. You're a feel. I keep seeing a picture of your feeler to your core. Lynnette, do you want to add to that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I feel that too. And you know, it's interesting too. It's called clairsentience. Yeah. And that clear feeling that the other thing I'm being told, Julie, is that you kind of trained yourself to ignore it. And earlier in your life. Does that resonate? It feels like to me like you've had all these really, and some of them you might not even be present to. You have these really deep senses and feelings, and the claircognizance of I know. There's this knowing, right? We want to teach you. The next step is to branch it all together. You know, you want to work with all. You want all your clairs working, right?
Yeah.
So.
Like the thing that is most like obvious to me in my life and always has been is like if I watch somebody, any show on TV where they jump off any height, it physically hurts like I feel that kind of shooting up my feet as though I had done it.
There you go.
And it's super painful.
Ooh. We need to kind of pull away from that to where you're not so tied into that. And we'll teach you how to do that.
You're a total feeler, hon. Yeah.
Yeah.
That help, Julie?
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Thanks. Great question. And then Jen has a question as well. Hi, Jen.
Jen?
Oh, you're muted. You're muted. But you don't know how to unmute yourself. Lynnette, on your phone, I think on the phone, if she's on her phone, on the bottom, there you got it. Yeah.
Right, this is the first time I've zoomed on my phone. I know how to do it on my desktop, but my phone, I'm new. So for the class,
Yes.
I'm a little bit confused. So like this introductory thing that we're doing tonight, is this just a one-time thing? Is it a 3-part thing?
It's a 3-part thing. So it's every 2 weeks, right? Every 2 weeks.
Right.
For three. Yeah.
So there's 2 more
Yeah.
that are introductory to it. Okay. And what are the average sizes of the classes when you've done them in the past? 20
to 30, give or take. That's, give or take. And they come from all over the world. We have like South Africa, Australia, Europe, different places in Europe. Yeah. Canada,
Okay.
North America. Yeah.
Okay.
But they're
'cause
it's an intimate group. I mean, 30 even sounds like a lot, but it becomes over the 9 months becomes very tight and connected.
Right. Okay.
Every year they're like, everybody's like, I don't want this to be our last class in December.
I bet.
November.
For sure. Yeah. Okay. And so then I think for me, I'm trying to feel through at a personal level. Like I feel very drawn to a lot of the elements you're talking about. And I know for me, I can feel like down the road, the helping others part will become very important. Mm-hmm. But I know that where I'm at in my life right now, I've always been told to and forced myself to be of service, neglecting me. Yeah. So I have a lot to learn and I need to work through a bunch of things like that. And I don't know if this class is necessarily the best way to do that timing wise, or maybe a more of a one-on-one working with, like with Divi or whatever. So that's part of what I'm trying to, the timing, and do I need to do some more one-on-one, some healing to kind of free myself then to really benefit fully from everything that the class has to offer in learning to coach myself and others. So those are things I'll be feeling through the next couple of weeks here. So
and I think you'll find, Jen, that as you go, or our experience, my experience is that as you go through it, you are focusing on yourself.
right.
And because you're practicing on yourself, and that's the whole focus, is you going through it and experiencing it, because how can we teach something we haven't experienced
Exactly.
or we don't live, and to be authentic teachers? Yes. And so it is, that's why so many people take it as a personal transformation course versus, like, there's so many people that start up, I don't want to be a coach, I just want to take this for myself. And then towards the end, they're like, I want to coach, I want to coach.
Right. Right. And I do notice that, like with I'm doing the Shift Networks Calibrating Your Intuition class, and it's a class, but it's everything I need, I'm hearing and I'm seeing and I'm feeling. And then I work with that, and my guides are working with me with that in between. And it just, so I assume it would be very similar here. So
Yes. And we have a portal called Shobi, that where we, when homework's assigned, you go in there and you put it right there, and it's about practice. That's what Divi was talking about, the accountability, right? So when there's homework, you're accountable to turn it in, to, even if it's like, yeah, it was great. It doesn't no dissertation. It's not a major ordeal, but it is an accountability. Right. And so that's like, Jen, did you take care of yourself this week? Jen, did you do the meditation? Jen, did you practice, being?
yeah, and the opportunity to be in a community like that is huge. And I'm sure I'm not the only one, because I don't have that. So
no, that's why we want to do this, because there's so many intuitives out there wandering around thinking they're all alone.
Yeah.
Our goal is to take over
And
the
I
world.
appreciate it. It's such a gift, whether I join or not, is such a gift that you're giving to everybody.
We feel that way. I mean, we love it. I mean, it's a gift to us too, because we receive. In giving, we receive, right? You guys are all familiar with that. You give, you receive, right? In the space of being that blessing or gift, you receive.
And I'm just going to piggyback what Lynnette said. I agree 100% with what Lynnette said. I'm probably going to repeat myself. The course is actually set up as a transformation container. And at the end, you want to coach, right? But it really is all about that transformation. Do you know what I mean? So that's my sense for yourself, Jen. And one thing I'd just be mindful, because I know I do this all the time, Jen. It's like, I'll do that later. I'll do that later. What I always find is that's my ego saying you're not ready yet. Do you know what I mean? And so just play with that over the next couple of weeks. I'm not saying I'm right. But just play with that, right? Just something to play with. So, yeah.
I will feel through that and see what shows up.
Thank you.
There was have to be a PhD to write a book.
Right.
Used to be that everybody's like, oh, I'm not a PhD, I can't write. Now everybody writes books, but you write, it's the same thing. I got to be this certain level to do that. And it's like, you already have it within you, baby. It's already there. You just have to open up to see it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. There's a few shadows hiding it yet, but it's coming out and it's shining and it's beautiful when I see it. And thank you for helping me do that.
There's one more question that came into me privately, so I won't say who typed it in, just because it's private. In case she doesn't want to type in. She wrote, I'm already a certified coach. Will this benefit me? And I'll get you to speak about this next. I know you do other certifications. I'm trying to determine how to best utilize the course. She wrote, I'm a certified coach.
Wait, what about the other certification? What
just said, I'm already a certified coach. Will this benefit me? I'm trying to determine how to best utilize this course.
So certified coach already, that's awesome. And, that's fantastic. What I find about this program, what I believe about this program is it's different than anything else out there. The tool, working with energy, all of the subjects we cover over the 9 months. It is different than anything, and it actually would probably add to your coaching practice. Being a certified coach already, it will give you more tools. Your tool belt will be even more full, and it might give you a deepening. I keep seeing that it's a deepening. It would be a deepening experience for your clients, for your, the clients that you have now, to bring this into the mix.
Let us know if that landed. Because you typed it privately, so I want to.
Yeah.
Awesome. Make sure there's no other questions. Okay, sure, thank you.
I
So,
apologize it went so long, guys.
yeah, sorry, guys. And so we'll be back in 2 weeks with a different process. And I know I repeated the Mind versus Spirit that I did last week, but because there are a lot of people who are on this who are not in the Shift Network class, so I want to respect that too. So in 2 weeks, we'll do a different process. And then 2 weeks later, we'll do a different process, and we'll have fun. And we'll meet other graduates next week. We won't talk much about the course next time because you've heard it this time. Next time, we'll have more graduates on. We'll do a different process, and we'll coach. We'll have fun.
Perfect.
Cool. Awesome, guys. We will see you in 2 weeks or sooner.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for your
Thank you.
time and being here with us.
Yeah.
So
Thank
well.
you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Good luck,
you.
guys. Take care.
Bye.
Thanks, Fiona. Take care, guys. Bye, Lynette.